The world of sandwiches is humongous. In fact, according to researchers, about 47% of Americans consume a sandwich or two in a single day. And a simple reason for it is the simplicity and versatility. You can customize and create endless varieties without having any need for culinary skills. In this modern era, people have tightly packed schedules and often lengthy commutes. This makes the need for convenience food greater than ever. And sandwiches are the perfect convenience food. That's because they don't require a plate or any special utensil. Welcome to today's episode of Foodology, which is a continuation of the previous episode all about sandwiches. I'm radio host Devansh, and on this show, I talk about the enormous world of a little word called food. Last week, I talked about the history of sandwiches, how it got its name, and some of the most popular sandwiches out there. Don't worry if you missed that episode. Let me give you a quick little recap. Before knowing anything, it is important to understand what a sandwich is. To be precise, a sandwich is a food item eaten by hand and composed of any combination of meats, vegetables, spreads and garnishes stacked between two slices of bread or tucked within a roll, bun or similar leavened bread product. However, practical applications can totally exceed this little definition. The first recorded history of sandwich was by the famous Rabbi Hillel the Elder, who lived during the 1st century BC. He started the Passover custom of sandwiching a mixture of chopped nuts, apples, spices and wine between two matzos, which is a flat bread. During the Middle Ages, from 6th to 16th century, thick blocks of coarse stale bread called trenchers were used in place of plates. Meats and other foods were piled on top of the bread to be eaten with their fingers and sometimes with the help of knives. The trenchers, thick and stale, absorbed the juices from the food, the grease and all the sauces, and these trenchers gave way to the formation of open-faced sandwiches. I even talked about how sandwich got its name. It got its name from John Montagu, 4th Earl of Sandwich in England. It is believed that the 4th Earl, John Montagu, one day in 1762 was on a streak of 24 hours gambling, and he didn't want to get up for his meal, so he demanded his servant to bring him something which would not disturb him. The servant came up with meat between two slices of bread, and that meal did not hamper the Earl's game, and he easily ate it with one hand. A friend of John demanded the same food by saying that he'll have the same thing as the sandwich, and the name popped out of the dialogue. Not just this, last week I briefly talked about some of the classical sandwiches like PBJs, hamburgers, club sandwich, French dip, BLT, sloppy joe and Monte Cristo. This time, I decided to expand this list. The first sandwich on my extended list would be grilled cheese. As we all know that bread and cheese have been present since the beginning of mankind. Evidences indicate that in the US, modern version of the grilled cheese sandwich originated in around 1920s, when inexpensive sliced bread and American cheese became readily available. Initially called the cheese dream during the Great Depression, the concept sometimes involved ham or bacon, or perhaps eggs, cayenne pepper, mustard or mayonnaise, bread browned on both sides, and served in tomato sauce at Sunday supper. Grilled cheese sandwiches are versatile. thanks to the ability to mix and match cheeses, bread, and seasoning. Adding sautéed vegetables or herb-infused oils can actually elevate this simple comfort food to a whole new level. Next up are breakfast rolls. This is an Irish staple. Breakfast roll typically consists of bread roll or baguette containing one or more fillings such as sausages, bacon, white or black pudding, butter, mushrooms, tomatoes, tomato sauce or brown sauce. In some cases, a hash brown, baked beans or fried eggs may be added. Here comes the po' boy. The name for New Orleans' most famous sandwich is the po' boy. Piled with lettuce, tomato, pickles, and filled with roast beef, fried shrimp, oysters, or whatever you choose. Po' boys are stuffed and slathered with sauce or mayonnaise, and then served between two long pieces of French bread. There are many types of po' boy sandwiches, from a combo of oyster and shrimp to surf and turf and beyond. This sandwich was invented by Clovis and Benjamin Martin, brothers and former streetcar drivers who opened a restaurant on St. Claude Avenue in the 1920s. When streetcar drivers went on strike in 1929, the brothers took up their cause and created an inexpensive sandwich of gravy and spare bits of roast beef on French bread. They would serve the unemployed workers out of the back of the restaurant. When a worker came to get one, the cry would go up in the kitchen that, "Here comes another poor boy." And the name was transformed to the sandwich, eventually becoming po' boy in common usage. Cuban sandwiches. Cuban sandwich, known as a cubano, is a variation of the grilled ham and cheese sandwich. It originated in Florida, Key West, and Tampa by Cuban immigrants who needed a filling and easy to carry lunch. However, there are some tales suggesting that the first Cuban sandwich was made more than 500 years ago by Taino tribe in Cuba that inhabited the island before Europeans arrived. Apparently, the tribe used cassava. They used a cassava flatbread that's as hard and thin as a cracker. Two versions of this sandwich exists. Salami is added in Tampa, showcasing Italian influence, whereas the Key West version keeps it to just pork and ham only. Miami features Cubanos of both styles, and the three cities dispute over who has the best sandwich. The combination of flavorful, juicy pork, Swiss cheese, pickles, mustard, and Cuban bread makes this dish an undeniable hit. Cuban-style bread is used for making this Cuban sandwich. It is a yeast-risen and enriched dough with a little fat, traditionally lard. It's long and white and soft on the inside, with a light and crispy crust. The classic hot dog. If you didn't eat a hot dog in New York, you did it wrong. Hot dog evokes images of ballparks, cookouts, and condiment-covered bliss. Hot dogs are a kind of sausage, which may date back to the 7th century BCE. That's a long time ago. Roman Emperor Nero's cook, Gaius, starred in a sausage legend of his own when it is said that he discovered them. At that time, pigs were starved the week before they were to be cooked and served. According to a popular belief, one pig was roasted but had not been properly cleaned. Gaius ran a knife through the pig's belly to see if it was fit to eat. The pig's intestines popped out of the roast. Gaius took the idea and from that time onwards started stuffing the intestines with meat and other foods, giving birth to sausages. As time rolled on, Europeans embraced sausages in their cuisine, particularly across Germany. The Germans created hundreds of versions of sausages to pair with kraut and beer. Two different European towns now claim to be the birthplace of the hot dog: Frankfurt in Germany and Vienna in Austria. As Europeans came to the United States, throughout the late 19th century, sausage vending became a relatively inexpensive startup business for the immigrants. At that time, it was hard to pin down who invented the hot dog, as many street peddlers sold sausages on their carts. But there is a popular belief that a German peddler sold hot sausages in the streets of St. Louis, Missouri. He would supply white gloves with each purchase so that his customers would not burn their hands while eating the sausage. He saw his profits going down because the customers kept taking the gloves and walking off with them. His wife suggested that he put the sausage in a split bun instead. He reportedly asked his brother-in-law, who was a baker, for help. The baker improvised long, soft rolls that fit the meat, thus inventing the hot dog bun. When he did that, the hot dog was born. Initially, he called them Red Hots. German immigrant butchers in the United States began selling variations of sausages, some of which were thin and long, like the dog breed Dachshund. They called these Dachshund sausages. Over time, the phrase may have been changed into hot dog. Dagwood. Dagwood sandwich is also a sandwich put together so as to attain a huge size, and an infinite variety of contents are stuffed between layers of bread. It was named after Dagwood Bumstead, a central character in the comic strip Blondie, who is frequently illustrated making enormous sandwiches. Next up is Gatsby. Gatsby is South Africa's Cape Town's signature sandwich, consisting of a crusty toasted roll that is stuffed in bologna slices, French fries, ketchup, lettuce, and hot peri-peri sauce. This sandwich is so big that it is usually sliced into 4 portions, and it can easily feed several people. Gatsby is named after Scott Fitzgerald's novel, The Great Gatsby, possibly referring to the size of the sandwich and the richness of the filling. Today, there is a variety of different ingredients for the filling, from masala steak to calamari to sausages and so much more. Tacos. This Mexican staple has been around for centuries. Today, we see tacos everywhere and in every form. The origin of tacos began with corn. Sometime around 3000 BC, Mexicans excavated the Valle de Tehua and hybridized grass to create the corn plant. Indigenous cultures viewed corn as the foundation of humanity or the seed of life. They even believed that humans were built of corn. Though tacos may seem ancient and the ancient word is Aztecan, it simply referred to something folded. Tacos are one of the newer developments in the world of Mexican cuisine. Though no one can say how tacos came to be. Authentic Mexican tacos in their modern form developed sometime around the 19th century in the booming Mexican silver mines. The first true type of taco was the miner's taco. Experts believe that taco referred initially to gunpowder wrapped in a thin piece of paper, used for blowing up the holes in rocks and excavations. A small taquito, looks exactly like a small stick of dynamite. From there, tacos spread to the working class of Mexico. Migrant women brought the taco to Mexico City to sell, and the city quickly transformed into the country's biggest taco hub. Tacos al pastor are of particular note, not because they're delicious, which obviously they are, but because they mark the first time an outside culture affecting the Mexican-born dish. During the 1930s and 1960s, there was a massive Lebanese migration to Mexico, As Mexicans tried the food for the foreign culture, they began to recreate some of their own favorite foreign fusions. Mexican migrants initially brought tacos to America when they came to find work on railroad construction in the southern states. In the early 1900s, the Mexican taco carts lined Los Angeles, with women running them called chili queens. The hard taco shell seems to be an American invention, likely created due to the longer shelf life than the softer counterparts. Though the hard taco shell was around for as many as 10 years before Taco Bell first opened, this new Mexican-American fast food restaurant saw its popularity explode. Next up are vada paos. This Southwest Indian classic is a favorite among all. Vadas are potato patties made out of mashed potatoes mixed with finely chopped onion, green chilies, coriander, and spices that are dipped in chickpea batter just before frying. Pao is a leavened bread, like a bun. The credit for inventing this rustic and mouth-watering vada pav goes to Ashok Vaidya. In the 1960s, Balasaheb Thackeray appealed to Maharashtrians to become entrepreneurs, the way South Indians had by setting up their restaurants. This inspired Ashok to set up a small stall outside Dadar station in 1966, through which hundreds and thousands of workers passed by every day to their way to the textile mills in suburban areas. He began selling the vadas and poha alongside a stall and sold omelette pav. Once, he experimented and placed a vada between a bun-like bread called pav with some chutney. The result of the experiment, vada pav, became an instant hit in no time. Lobster roll. A lobster roll is a sandwich traditionally found in New England made of a simple lobster salad, stuffed into a toasted roll and drizzled with butter. They can be served cold, tossed with mayonnaise, or hot with drawn butter. But the more traditional lobster roll is served simply with melted butter. The lobster roll originated as a hot dish at a restaurant named Perry's in Connecticut as early as 1929. Its popularity then spread up and down the Connecticut coast, but not far beyond it. Open-faced sandwiches. This is not a type of sandwich, but a category of sandwiches which is immensely popular, especially as an appetizer. As the name suggests, these are open-faced, meaning that the components are placed on a layer of bread as a base, without any covering from the top. The origins of open-faced sandwich is the European Middle Ages, when thick slices of stale bread or trenchers served as plates. The trenchers absorbed the juices and flavors of the toppings, and they were eaten in the end or discarded. Over time, the bread was incorporated into the meal because the food-soaked plate was often the tastiest component. A pepito sandwich. The pepito is a sandwich prepared from beef, pork, or chicken, originating from Spain and is also very popular in Latin America. It is a common street food in Venezuela and is also available at some US restaurants. The pepito is prepared with grilled beef tenderloin, flank, ribeye steak, or strip steak, with refried beans, black beans or pinto beans, and a soft roll, bun or baguette as primary ingredients. Mayonnaise, butter, olive oil, fresh lime juice, Worcestershire sauce, hot mustard, cumin, salt and pepper are additional ingredients. Since sandwiches can be versatile, there are obviously so many varieties of dessert sandwiches available throughout the world. Here I have pudgy pies. Do not confuse this with a pie because this is not a pie. It is a toasted sandwich. Pudgy pies are a staple at campgrounds across the Midwest. Warm, gooey, customizable, they are totally satisfying. While the exact origins cannot be pinned down, pudgy pies are also known as toasties. They are cooked in pie irons, which are comprised of two concave cast iron plates. There are endless possibilities in which you can make pudgy pies, even savory ones. But the most popular ones are the s'mores, which is marshmallows and chocolate sandwiched between graham crackers. Other types of pudgy pies include Nutella, berries and cream, and so much more. Another popular dessert sandwich is the ice cream sandwich. Summer holidays are incomplete without savoring these. This popular frozen dessert contains a thick layer of ice cream, usually vanilla ice cream, sandwiched between two large biscuits. There have been some modern and gourmet versions of the classic version, which is the vanilla chocolate ice cream sandwich. No one knows exactly who invented ice cream sandwiches, but it is believed that the early creations were called hokey pokeys and sold for a price of a penny on street carts. Sponge cake got its turn as a bread of the ice cream sandwich, but this creation was too fragile and became a true disaster if the ice cream started melting. So the next natural step was some sort of cracker. Graham cracker was tried, and the current concept of ice cream sandwich isn't actually very far from this. However, ice cream sandwich in its present form came to life when two chocolate cookies were placed around vanilla ice cream. Some people believe that a vendor named Jerry Newberg sold these treats at Pittsburgh Forbes Field during the basketball games starting in 1945. No matter who invented it, they are delicious and we can't get enough of them. No matter the weather, I would love to grab one ice cream sandwich. Let me go and do that right now. Thank you so much for sticking around with me on this episode of Foodology. I had an incredible time talking to you. This is radio host Devansh, signing off. Hope you have a beautiful and a magical day ahead. See you soon.